The quiet suburb outside Seattle was steeped in the soft glow of an autumn dusk. Hannah Reed gathered the day's mail as she stepped into her house after her shift at the clinic. Tucked among the usual envelopes was one that stood out, an elegant invitation on heavy, expensive paper. It was from her sister Madeline, the younger one by 4 years. Growing up, Hannah had always been measured against Madeline. Where Hannah was reliable and careful, molded to meet their parents' hopes, Madeline was the free spirit, charming, impulsive, and effortlessly adored. Their parents often asked, "Why can't you be a bit more like Madeline?" "I'm back," Hannah called into the hallway. Her 8-year-old son, Noah, bounded over, eyes shining. "Mom, I drew a rocket ship today. My teacher said it was the best in class." Hannah ruffled his hair, her smile warm. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. You'll have to show me later." From the kitchen doorway, she could see her daughter, Lily, bent diligently over her homework, while her husband, Daniel, loosened his tie and poured himself a cup of coffee. It was the kind of evening she'd once dreamed about. Calm, secure, full of love. "Anything interesting today?" Daniel asked, nodding toward the stack of letters. Hannah held up the fancy envelope. "It's from Maddie." "Probably." She slid her finger under the seal and unfolded the card. Her breath caught for a moment. "She's getting married to Ethan Blake." Daniel looked up sharply. "The big-shot tech guy. He's all over the news lately." Hannah nodded slowly. Ethan Blake was the name people dropped in boardrooms and gossip columns alike. A charismatic entrepreneur with an impressive fortune. She scanned the rest. "The wedding's in 2 months. The whole family's invited." That night, long after the children were asleep, Hannah sat at the edge of the bed, turning the invitation over in her hands. Madeline always seemed to have everything work out. Brilliant career, influential friends, and now a fiancé with wealth and connections. Daniel emerged from the bathroom and caught her distant look. "Penny for your thoughts," she exhaled. "Just thinking about Maddie. It's like the universe always lines up for her." He slid in beside her and nudged her shoulder playfully. "Hey, you're doing pretty well yourself. Great job, 2 incredible kids, and this irresistible guy you married." She laughed, leaning into him. "You're right. I do know that. Sometimes I wonder if I missed something." The next morning, Hannah rang her sister. "Congrats on your engagement," she said, meaning it. Madeline's delighted voice bubbled through the line. "Thank you. Can you believe it? He's just perfect. You'll help me plan everything, won't you?" "I need my big sister." "Of course. Just tell me when and where. Let's do lunch tomorrow. I'll spill all the details." "Perfect. See you then." After she hung up, Hannah felt an odd knot in her stomach. Happy for Madeline, yet uneasy. Lately, she'd sensed a quiet gap in her own marriage. The passion that once consumed her and Daniel had settled into steady routine. The next day at lunch, Madeline glowed as she recounted how Ethan swept her off her feet, the extravagant proposal, the plans for a lavish ceremony. Hannah listened intently, genuinely glad for her sister. Then, as they finished their coffee, Madeline caught her off guard. "You know, hon, I always envied you. You were always the one Mom and Dad admired most." Hannah blinked. "Me? But you're the one with everything." Madeline shook her head. "I might have success at work, but you have what really matters. A loving husband, 2 kids who adore you. That's all I've ever wanted." The words echoed in Hannah's mind for days afterward. All this time, she'd assumed Madeline's life was flawless, only to realize her sister had secretly longed for the very life Hannah sometimes took for granted. As the wedding day drew closer, Hannah found herself busier than ever, balancing her job, the kids' routines, and helping Madeline with last-minute details. One night before bed, Noah piped up. "Mom, I don't like Uncle Ethan." She chuckled. "What makes you say that?" "He hides his phone when I come in. Like he's got secrets." She brushed it off with a gentle laugh. "He's probably just busy with work stuff, honey." Later that evening, Hannah got home to find Daniel pacing with his phone. The moment she stepped into the room, he hung up abruptly. "Who was that?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Work," he said quickly, not meeting her eyes. "It's been hectic lately." Daniel had been staying late at the office more than usual. He was gone on weekends too. Hannah forced herself to believe it was just the wedding pressure. The night before the big day, the hotel bustled with guests and final preparations. After a long meeting with the wedding planner, Hannah stepped outside and spotted Noah crouched by Ethan's shiny black sports car. "Noah," she called, hurrying over. "What are you doing here?" "Nothing, Mom. You know you shouldn't touch other people's cars." "I wasn't touching it. Just looking." "Looking at what?" He hesitated. "Just wanted to see something." She frowned but let it drop. "Come on, buddy. We need to get ready for dinner." At the rehearsal dinner that evening, everything appeared perfect. Yet Hannah couldn't help noticing Daniel checking his phone again and again. Midway through, he excused himself for a call and didn't return for a while. "Is everything all right?" she asked when he came back. "Yeah, just a work thing that can't wait." "I'll need to step out again tonight," he said, avoiding her eyes. "Tonight? The wedding's tomorrow." "I know. I'll be back in a couple of hours." Disappointed, Hannah nodded. "I'll take the kids up to the room." Back in the room, Lily was on her tablet, but Noah was quiet. "When's Dad coming back?" he asked. "Soon, honey. He had to handle something important." Noah looked away. "Is Uncle Ethan a good person?" "Of course," Hannah said. "Why do you ask?" "No reason." She kissed his forehead. "Let's get ready for bed, okay?" Jason didn't return until nearly midnight. He looked tired and tense. "Sorry I'm late," he said. "Things got complicated." Hannah stared at him. "Is everything really okay?" "It's fine now," he said, loosening his tie. "You should sleep." But Hannah's heart was uneasy. The morning of the wedding arrived. The hotel buzzed with last-minute preparations. Hannah, now in her soft lavender bridesmaid dress, stood beside Madeline, who was radiant in her white gown, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I can't believe today's finally here," Madeline whispered. "Madeline," Hannah said, looking out the window, "thank you so much. This day wouldn't have happened without you." Hannah hugged her sister tightly. "If you're happy, that's all that matters." The ceremony went off without a hitch. Laughter and warmth filled the air. Yet, throughout the vows and the exchanging of rings, Hannah kept catching her husband, Daniel, exchanging subtle glances with Madeline. Once, she could have sworn Daniel winked at her sister. "Am I imagining things?" she thought. But when she turned to check on her son, Noah, she saw him discreetly pulling out his smartphone and pointing it toward the aisle. Filming. Noah normally didn't care much for taking videos. Hannah shot him a look, silently telling him to put it away, but Noah just stared back for a moment before continuing. As the reception got underway with toasts and clinking glasses, Hannah noticed Madeline slipping off toward the restroom. Thinking her sister might need help with the dress, Hannah quietly excused herself and followed. In the corridor outside the restroom, she stopped dead in her tracks. Madeline had just stepped out, and Daniel was there waiting. Hannah ducked behind a decorative pillar, her heart hammering against her ribs. She watched as Daniel leaned in, whispered something close to Madeline's ear, and gently placed a hand on her arm. Their faces, their closeness. This was not how in-laws talked. Moments later, they parted and each walked away in opposite directions. Hannah pressed her back against the wall, her pulse racing. "Whoa, not today. Not now." She forced herself to breathe, to return to the dance floor as if nothing had happened. Dinner passed in a blur of speeches and laughter. When the dance music started, Hannah returned to her table to find Noah fidgeting and glancing at his phone again and again. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Noah looked up, his small face serious in a way no 8-year-old's face should ever be. "I'll tell you later," he whispered. His eyes held a weight far beyond his years. Hannah ruffled his hair and forced a calm smile. "Okay. We'll talk soon. On the dance floor, Madeline and Ethan shared their first dance, the picture of newlywed bliss. Then the MC's voice boomed over the mic. Next up, a special dance from the bride's sister, Hannah Reid, and her husband, Daniel. Hannah rose, legs trembling, and met Daniel under the soft lights. He placed one hand around her waist, the other in hers. The music swelled. "You look stunning tonight," Daniel murmured into her ear. "This dress, perfect." Hannah forced a smile, swallowing the nausea rising in her throat. "Thank you." Daniel pulled her closer. "Is something bothering you?" "No. Nothing," she lied. Over his shoulder, she glimpsed Madeline laughing with another cousin, radiant, carefree. Maybe I'm wrong, Hannah thought desperately. Maybe it's nothing. When the music faded and the guests applauded, Hannah slipped back to the table. There was Noah, sitting bolt upright, gripping her phone tightly. "Mom. We need to leave. Now." He grabbed her hand, his whisper urgent under the chatter and thumping music. Hannah bent down, her voice calm but her heart drumming. "Why, honey?" Noah shakily unlocked her phone. "Look." On the screen was a photo. Daniel and Madeline in the hotel lobby, standing way too close, fingers intertwined. The timestamp was the night before the wedding. Hannah's vision blurred as she swiped. More photos. Daniel and Madeline in a parked car, Daniel brushing hair from Madeline's face in a quiet hallway. Noah's voice was so small. "I borrowed Lily's tablet and—" A message from Dad popped up by accident. There were all these pictures of Dad and Aunt Madeline. Hannah felt the world tilt under her feet. The wedding lights, the music, the laughter, all faded to a deafening silence as her son's tiny hand clutched hers for dear life. Hannah gasped. "Noah, you." "I'm sorry, Mom." Tears welled up in Noah's eyes. "But I knew Dad was doing something bad. Poor Uncle Ethan." Hannah snapped back to her senses and wrapped her arms around her son. "You did nothing wrong. Thank you for telling me, sweetheart." Noah sniffled. "Yesterday when we got to the hotel, I took pictures with Lily's tablet. 'Cause Dad was talking to Aunt Madeline in the lobby. And Dad saw me and tried to hide something." Hannah's hands trembled as she scrolled through the photos on the smartphone. Image after image of Daniel and Madeline together. Too close, too familiar. The last photo showed Madeline passing a document to Daniel. Then she scrolled through the messages. The truth was undeniable. This had been going on for years. Even more painfully, Ethan had no clue. "Mom. Dad and Aunt Madeline are doing something bad. Poor Uncle Ethan. Let's just go home, Mom," Noah pleaded, voice quivering. Hannah's mind was a storm. 14 years of marriage. 2 children. A life she thought was safe. And her sister, the person she had trusted more than anyone. Sure, there'd always been rivalry, but betrayal. All around her, the reception buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses. The music was upbeat, but to Hannah it sounded like an echo from another universe. She felt faint, the edges of her vision blurring. Then Noah's small hand squeezed hers. "Mom, are you okay?" She looked into her son's big, brave eyes. In that moment, she drew strength from him. This child, carrying an adult's secret, had done what no one else dared. "Noah, thank you. You're so brave. So honest." She hugged him tight. "But we can't just leave yet. I need to tell Ethan the truth. He deserves to know." Noah's eyes widened. "Uncle Ethan." "Yes. He needs to hear this, and thanks to you, I can do the right thing." Hannah took a shaky breath, wiped her eyes and stood, her hand clasped firmly around Noah's. "Let's go together." They pushed through the reception crowd, looking for Ethan. Hannah spotted him at the far side of the hall, laughing politely with a few tech investors. She approached him, her heart pounding in her ears. "Ethan, can I speak to you? It's important." Ethan saw her face and immediately sensed something was terribly wrong. "Of course." He excused himself and walked over. "Hannah, what is it?" She rested her hand protectively on Noah's shoulder. "Let's talk outside." The three of them stepped into the hotel's rooftop garden. The cool Seattle night air prickled at Hannah's skin as distant music floated up from the ballroom below. Taking a deep breath, she faced Ethan. "I have something painful to tell you." "Noah found something." She handed him the smartphone. Ethan scrolled through the photos. Confusion turned to hurt and then to raw fury. He flipped through the messages in silence. "How long?" His voice was rough, almost broken. "I don't know," Hannah whispered. "Noah found this by accident. He just wanted to protect you." Ethan exhaled, a trembling breath in the cold night. He handed back the phone, his eyes distant. "I felt something off. Madeline deleting messages, sudden work trips. But I never imagined." He looked at Noah, gently ruffling his hair. "You're so brave, buddy." "Thank you." A voice cut through the quiet. "What's going on here?" Hannah turned sharply. There were Madeline and Daniel, standing at the garden entrance. Madeline's confusion turned to alarm as she saw the phone in Hannah's hand. Daniel froze, eyes darting from the phone to Ethan's tense face. "What are you talking about?" Madeline demanded. Ethan's voice was cold, steady. "The truth, Madeline. About you and him. On our wedding day." He pointed at the phone. The color drained from Madeline's face. What are you saying?" Daniel stepped forward, desperate. "Ethan, it's not what it looks like." "Enough." Hannah cut him off, her voice shaking but resolute. 14 years, Daniel. Lily, Noah. You two betrayed everything we built." Madeline reached for the phone, but Ethan held it out of reach. He read aloud. "Can we meet tonight? I told Ethan there's a client dinner." So this was the client dinner, huh? Silence fell. Noah clung to Hannah's side, watching the adults he trusted most tear each other apart. Suddenly Madeline broke, her voice cracking into a sob. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" Hannah demanded. "Why with my husband, Madeline? Why?" Madeline's sorrow twisted to rage. "Because you had everything. Mom and Dad always adored you. The perfect daughter, the perfect family. I was always second best. Daniel was the only one who really saw me." Hannah stared at her sister, the envy she'd felt all her life now thrown back at her as betrayal. Ethan's voice was a knife. "The wedding is off. I'll handle the guests. A marriage can't start with this." Daniel tried again. "Hannah, please, we can fix this." No, her voice was firm, final. "For Noah and Lily's sake, pack your things tonight and leave. We're done." Noah looked up at his father, confusion and heartbreak in his innocent eyes. Hannah took his hand. "Come on. Let's get Lily and go home." Before leaving, she faced Madeline one last time. "A real family doesn't betray. Chose to. So stay away from us." She turned and walked away with Noah. Behind them, Ethan's voice was low and cold as he spoke to Madeline and Daniel, but Hannah never looked back. She didn't need to. 6 months later, in a quiet Seattle suburb, in front of a cozy new brick house, Hannah was unloading groceries from her car. The divorce had been finalized last month. Now she and the kids were carving out a new life, piece by piece. "Noah, Lily, bring your backpacks in," she called from the porch. The kids ran past her, laughing. They'd just come back from a weekend with Daniel, who was slowly rebuilding his relationship with them, under strict boundaries. Hannah had returned to work part-time as a family counselor, using her old psychology degree to help others rebuild trust and heal. Noah saw the school counselor regularly, working through his feelings about what he'd uncovered. Sometimes he still asked, "It wasn't my fault Dad did bad things, right?" But each time Hannah reassured him, it was never his fault. One crisp December afternoon, as she made tea, the doorbell rang. It was Ethan, standing with a small potted pine tree in his arms. "A housewarming gift," he said with a gentle smile. "Something that grows strong for your new beginning." Hannah invited him in. Over the months, they'd become unexpected friends, bonded by the same wound and the same honesty that had shattered and saved their lives. "Noah's a remarkable kid," Ethan said, sipping coffee in her warm kitchen. You raised him to be braver than most adults. Hannah smiled softly. It was too much for him, but he's healing. One evening, scrolling online, Hannah saw a photo of Daniel with another woman. Rumors said Madeline had left Seattle altogether, starting over far away. Christmas Eve came. Hannah sat by the fireplace, the tree twinkling, the kids giggling upstairs. The doorbell rang. When she opened it, Madeline was standing there, pale, exhausted, remorse deep in her eyes. Do you have a minute? Madeline asked. Daniel and we're over. I was so wrong. Hannah hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in. The kids will be happy to see you. It's Christmas after all. As Madeline stepped in, Noah peeked from the hallway. For a moment he just stared, then gave a shy wave. Merry Christmas, Aunt Madeline. What is a real family? It's not just blood. It's trust. It's honesty. And sometimes forgiveness. Noah's courage reminded them all. A family built on truth is stronger than any lie. They still had a long road to healing, but they were walking it together. From Hannah's story, I realized that sometimes betrayal doesn't come from strangers but from the very people we love and trust the most. A seemingly perfect family can hide countless cracks inside. But the truth, no matter how painful, must be faced, because only when we dare to confront it can we rediscover our true worth. A brave child reminded us that honesty and courage are always the foundation of a true family. What do you think about Hannah's choices and little Noah's brave actions? Should forgiveness be part of this story? Share your thoughts below and don't forget to follow the channel to hear more heartfelt family stories.